51,
Yes, sir.
52,
Present, sir.
53, 54, 55,
56.
57,
Present, sir.
58,
Yes, sir.
59,
Yes, sir.
56, 60,
Yes, sir.
61,
Present, sir.
62,
Present, sir.
63,
Present, sir.
64,
Present, sir.
65,
Yes, sir.
66, 67,
Present, sir.
68,
Present, sir.
69,
Present, sir.
70,
Present, sir.
71, anybody has missed?
26.
I am not able to hear. Lot of noise. Who is that?
Sir, 26.
Oh, I got 26. Anybody else?
Sir, 18.
22 is present, sir.
22. 22. Omkar.
Sir,
Yes.
29 is present, sir.
Sir, 18.
20.
9.
29. Okay.
Sir, 18. Roll number.
Roll number 18. Yeah, got that. Anybody
Sir,
else?
06 is present.
06.
Sir, 53.
53. Okay. All right. Good morning, everybody. I hope I'm audible to everybody. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So yesterday we started with a discussion about what is the web technology and its application, how much relevant it is, and we also went through your syllabus. What are the different aspects of the web development, and how relevant it is for your knowledge as well as for creating the web applications. Okay, so all of you, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so briefly we'll go through the modules. This is the web application and its applications. Module 1, it talks about the HTML, so all aspects of the HTML, and it talks about the introduction to the CSS. Okay, so style sheet we are going to look into it, and uh, basically this I told you it's on the client side. Basically all this is for the web page design and web page building. And next module 2 is little advanced concepts of HTML, like tables and forms. Okay, and styling tables, introducing forms, what is a form control elements, table and form accessibility, micro formats, advanced CSS, then layout. We are see what is a layout, normal flow, positioning elements, right? Your positioning elements, you want to have the button in the middle, text in the left, things like that. Those are the positioning. Then floating element, constructing multi-column layouts, approaches to CSS layout, responsive design, CSS frameworks. Those are the things we are going to see in the module 2. And module 3, JavaScript, basically client-side scripting. We'll see what is the Java scripting, how we can use it, what are the syntax, different things about the JavaScript. And then we are going to see the document object model, DOM. Then JavaScript events, what are the different events, forms, then introduction to server side. Until this 2.5, I told you it is a It's predominantly on the client side. And when I say client is your web browser. It can be on any device, either laptop or it can be any device, mobile, or the program that runs this web application is a browser, any browser. Then introduction to server-side development with PHP. What is server-side development? What is the meaning of server-side development? Web servers responsibilities, and a quick tour of PHP, program control and functions. That is module 3. And module 4, PHP arrays. So it is advanced programming on the server side. So arrays and get and post, all those things we are going to see. Object-oriented design. Yesterday I talked about error handling and validation. What are errors and exceptions? Those things we'll see. PHP error reporting, PHP error and exception handling. How the exceptions are handled, how the error are handled. That we are going to see in this module 4. And module 5 is managing state. Okay, how to manage the state. Then problem of state in web application, passing information via query strings. So we'll see what is query strings and how we can pass information, and passing information via URL path. So some of these things you must have already seen when you are requesting any URL. In the URL path, you will see some of the variables with having a value. Let's say you are looking out for syllabus of 2018. So you must be seeing some, it is a way of passing information. You will see in the URL itself there is a variable called year and is equal to 2018, something like that. That is the way to pass the information. Then cookies, serialization, session state, HTML5, web storage, caching. We'll see what is caching. Already you have learned the concept of the caching, what caching means. So how that is implemented, we'll see. Advanced JavaScript and jQuery. JavaScript pseudo classes, jQuery foundations, Ajax. We'll see what is Ajax, asynchronous file transmission, animation, backbone, MVC framework. So this is the most widely used framework, MVC. Yesterday I talked about it. It's a model view control framework. XML processing and web services. We'll see what is web services, how they are useful, and how it can be, you can give these services to the open world. Like you can create web services and others can consume it. Some of these web services you already consume, or you have to consume when you are developing your project. Some examples of web services are like we call it as API or web services, how it is implemented. Suppose you have a project you are building, and there is a requirement like you want to get the location. Okay, so there are Google API which are created as a web services. You can call those services. You are not directly hitting their website. You are calling the web services and you are passing whatever the required information, and you will get the response, longitude and latitude, the location of. So we can create such web services. For another example is there is a website which deals with the stock market, and you want to check the price of any particular stock. So you can call you can consume the web services. They will create the web services and you will consume the web services. You call that web services and you will get the price as the output. Then XML processing, JSON, overview of web services. So these are all the things that you are going to study in this particular subject. And the book that is referred, the textbook, Randy Connolly and Ricardo Hoare, Fundamentals of Web Development. So this is available in the library, and predominantly so whatever I have seen so far, it looks predominantly we can use this book, as well as there are many online resources are available. We can use online resources. The web technology is like now widely available on the online, and lot of knowledge is out there on every particular thing, be it be just the HTML or the CSS or the PHP or jQuery or XML. A lot of information is available there, so you can make use of that. So you can look for the web yeah. And if you are encountering any kind of a problems, let's say you want to, let's say for your own web application development, you want to connect from your web page to, let's say, some MySQL database. So you can say, you can Google how to connect from web page to the MySQL database. So you'll find a lot of resources, and a lot of forums are there if in case you are seeing any kind of a error. So information is abundant, so we can use that. And these are some of the reference books. So one thing is try to be on time, because we will not spend too much time on the attendance. So 5 minutes. I know if class goes beyond, if the previous class is late, I expect by 10:55 everybody should be in, so that we can avoid the interruptions. Okay, so this is our syllabus, and I told you some of the online resources I will show you just to for the module 1. You can just go to Google and you can say W3 schools. You can say just HTML. Okay, this is the W3 schools. So you can see here HTML, all the things are there. Make sure that there are some things, this is beyond your syllabus. So just try to restrict, or if you are very curious and if you want to explore, you can explore. So you can see here all the HTML introduction, editor, basics, elements, okay, styles, formatting, quotation, colors, and then CSS is there, links, HTML tables, things are like that. And also it gives option where you can, this is the code, you need not go anywhere else. Suppose you want to make certain change and you want to try yourself. So they will give a kind of environment, run environment, where you can make changes and you can see the results here. Only one thing is you should have an active internet connection. Let us say H1, this is used for the header. This is very basic, you must have already gone through this. Let's say you will change something and you want to see how it looks like. Okay, I say I change the text here, and you will say, so this is a modified. Okay, if you change this tags from H1, I will make it as H2, how it looks. So these are the things you can work hands-on, which will give more knowledge. So just don't, this is the subject which is not just about reading, it is the subject about practicing as well. Any questions so far? Any questions? Is it clear? Answer yes or no in the chat. We will use chat for our communication, so that I will know your understanding. Okay, all right. Okay, so this is the whole thing. Initially, you can use that W3 schools. You can experiment. You don't have to wait until the syllabus. I complete the module 1. You can start anytime. So I told you I will not start with the HTML. We will have some basic idea about what is internet, and then we will go ahead. Okay, so there is a okay, so there is a problem with the power. So I will see, as long as it goes, we will continue. And if we resume the power here, that I would be able to continue. Otherwise, it might end. So we will continue from wherever it starts. Okay, so web application, and so going into the history, definition and history. Earlier, the researchers they started with they were very curious. They wanted to build a network. Okay, for digital communication, they wanted to build a network. It started around 1960. Okay, and the purpose of this network was basically communication. Okay, communication and program sharing and remote computer access. Okay, initially it started for the only researchers, and it was being done for the defense related contracts. Okay, DoD is a Department of Defense. They had Advanced Research Projects Agency that was called as ARPA. These are the one organization which funded, and they started work on building the first network, and that first network that was built. So you understand network is what? The network is nothing but the connection between various kinds of devices, including the computers. It can be any other device. It can be printer, scanner. So connecting and communicating between these devices, that is basically a network. So whatever the network they started building upon, they called it as ARPANET. This is the first net. The primary early use of ARPANET was simple text-based communications through email, and that was the basic structure with it started. And in around 1974, alternate networks were created. So X.25 was the alternate network. This ARPANET was predominantly, it was created for the defense research related things, and X.25 was the network which allowed the business use. So that was the huge change. And around 1979, there was one more network created called Usenet, and it was built in 1979, and by 1981 there were 550 hosts were there, and by 1981 protocols for the internet were published and were ready to use. What are these protocols? When we are doing communication, we have to follow certain rules and regulations. That is called as a protocol. So how the communication is done between the devices or the hosts that are in the network, that is defined by these protocols. So they developed the protocols in 1981, and TCP IP was, this is the protocol that was created, which adopted all the well-defined protocols. Okay, and TCP IP was adopted by across all ARPANET. So this TCP IP protocol was created, and ARPANET adopted all that TCP IP. And over the next 2 decades, TCP IP networking was adopted across the globe. So now we know that TCP IP is the widely adopted protocol. What is internet and what is intranet? So basically, what is the internet? Internet is a collection of computers and other devices connected in a communications network. So it is a collection of all the computers and other devices. The other devices can be anything which can be communicable. So this network is called as a internet. Okay, and the TCP, what is TCP? Transmission Control Protocol, and IP is the internet protocol. It became the standard for the computer network connection in 1982. So when we are talking about creating the communication or the network, we have to have a protocol. This is the TCP IP is the protocol which became the standard. So whenever you are creating the networks, we follow the TCP IP protocol. So one way, the other way of thinking about the connection or the communication channels is, rather than connecting every computer on the internet directly to every other computer on the internet, normally the individual computers in an organization are connected to each other in a local network that is called as an intranet. One node on this local network is physically connected to the internet. So what this means is, for example, we have a company called Tata Consultancy Services, or it can be our organization as well. The Tata Consultancy Services, it has a lot of devices and computers within its organization, and lots of applications, lots of servers that are running within for its operations. So what they will do is they will have the a connection between all of them, and they create an intranet. So that intranet is very private to that particular organization. Similarly, our college can have a private or the intranet inside our college, and some nodes, okay, one node or some nodes in this local network is physically connected to the internet. So instead of connecting all my resources, all my computers and servers to every other computer in the internet, some node will be connected to the internet. So next diagram will explain how that happens. Okay, internet is a, you can think internet is, it is a network of networks. So I told about one intranet. TCS, one organization, they have an intranet. JGI, our colleges, we have intranet. All organization can have an intranet, and they can be connected over a internet. So internet is nothing but a network of networks, and all the devices that are connected to internet will be uniquely identified. Okay, so we will see that is the, we call it as a IP address. Every device that is connected to the internet will have a unique address, that is a IP address. Okay, this is internet and intranet. So you can see these are called as a firewalls. Three firewalls you can see, and inside these firewalls, okay, this is nothing but the private network or the intranet. So you can see private corporate computing system. So all these are interconnected, but they are connected only inside. They, if any of these things has to be connected to the outside internet, so this represents the internet outside the firewall, and this is the inside the internet, part of the internet, and this is part of the internet. The internet is connected to the intranet using a firewall. Firewall is basically it checks the means it provides a check, a security check, who is able to connect to my intranet, who is not. So all those security things we can include in the firewall. So here we have a firewall, offsite workers. Okay, so this related to the company, but it is offsite workplace that will be able to connect through the internet through the firewall. Similarly, they have some customer and corporate partners. This is on this side. It is connected to the intranet through the firewall. And these are the public websites. Some public websites they want to connect through the firewall, they can connect. So direct, public can't connect directly. Okay, so they will not be allowed. The fire will stop their access. If you see, public can access through some web system. So some web servers we will be having in the public domain that can make a connection securely into the intranet. So what are the essential elements of web application? I told you when we talk about the web application, there are certain essential parts. So yesterday we briefly talked about what is a web application. We have a website or a web application, and you will type a URL. What is a URL? Uniform Resource Locator. You will type the URL, and when you submit this URL will get resolved, and it will be identified with a unique IP address. The request will go there. Okay, it goes through the internet, it goes to the server. Server will, whatever the client or the in the URL browser, whatever has been requested, he will process that and he will give a response, and that response will be captured by the again the browser, and it will display. Normally the response will come as a HTML images, things like that, and that will be displayed on the browser. So that was the structure, and the same structure is essentially followed in almost all the applications. Even today it is relevant. There might be some changes the way these elements have been working, but predominantly all these elements are still relevant. First one is the Uniform Resource Locator to uniquely identify the resource on the World Wide Web. So World Wide Web is this is the complete network. In that complete network, this URL will uniquely identify particular resource. And next we have is the HTTP. HTTP is the hypertext transfer protocol to describe how requests and response operate. So we have a URL. URL will uniquely identify a resource, and on top of that we use the HTTP. And what HTTP does, it describe how the request will be sent and how the response will be received. Okay, and a software program that can be respond to the HTTP request. Okay, what is this software program? It is nothing but the web browser. Your web browser is the software program that can respond to the HTTP request. And next we have is the HTML, hypertext markup language, to publish the documents. So whatever the information we get from the server as a HTML, okay, so all, it can have a text, it can have audio, video, images, things like that. So that is a hypertext HTML that can be used to publish the documents. And again we will have a program, again basically your browser, that can make HTTP requests from URLs and that can display the HTML that it receives. So we will have a browser. On the browser you will give the URL. Okay, URL will uniquely identify. Suppose if you say www.google.com, it will uniquely identify the Google server. And we use this HTTP protocol, which will describe how the request will be sent and how it will be received. And we have a software, the browser, which can respond to the HTML request as well as the responses. And how do we get the responses? We get it as a HTML page, and same browser, okay, it knows how to make HTTP requests from the URLs, and it will display the HTML page. Okay, next one is a web application and desktop application. Okay, before we go into there, any questions regarding the basic elements, the flow of the web application? Any questions? Is it clear? Okay, all right. I assume you are following. Okay, so even if you don't follow too much, don't worry too much. Now it is very high level. So once we get into more details, it will be try to understand as much as possible how the web application, how what is URL, what is HTTP, what it does, and what is a request, what is a response, and who makes that request, and who displays that response. All those things, if you understand, that is fine. So we understand what is a web application. Web application, predominantly we saw the elements of the web application. So you will need a web browser. Okay, then we have a URL, HTTP. Okay, you have the web servers which will respond. These are the essential elements. And when you are connected to the internet, any web application, if you have a browser on laptop or any other device, you can work with the web applications. So what are the advantages of the web application? Okay, accessible from any internet enabled device. So you can access the web application from any device which is internet enabled. Can be used with a different operating systems and browsers. So you can access the web application on any kind of operating system. It can be like your Windows, Unix, Linux, any kind of operating system, and different kinds of browsers. These operating systems, they support many kind of browsers, be it Chrome or Internet Explorer or Firefox, any kind of a browser. Any browser you can use, and you can access those web application. Easier to roll out the program updates. What this meaning of this is, whatever the program updates you have, suppose you are making changes, you have a web application, let us consider our college website, and there is some notification regarding the examination. Okay, that can be rolled out easily without any interruption. So over those changes are made offline, tested, and they will be incorporated, and that will be pushed. Okay, when it is pushed, when you access the that website next time, you will see those changes. So easier rollout of the program updates. If you want to make any updates or any changes, that can be easily rolled out. You will not be impacting, or you are not dependent on any customers or the clients. Means the clients is nothing but the web browsers. You are not dependent on that. Easily you can roll out. And centralized storage on the server means fewer security concerns about the local storage. Whatever the information you are submitting, let us say our college, you are doing some kind of a registration. When you submit that button, you are submitting text information. Let's say you are attaching photo, that's the image information, or some attachments, okay, PDF file you are attaching. All those data will, when you do the submit, on successful submission, all that information will be stored on the server. As of now, we would just think this as a generic server where everything get saved. We can have different other kinds of server, let's say database servers, where you want to move this structured data onto the server. So basically what we have, one centralized place. So once it comes to the server, the way we want to store the information securely, we can do that. So that is the one advantage of the web application. Disadvantages. What are the disadvantages? Nowadays, this is not a big disadvantage. Earlier, it used to be a big disadvantage. We require a internet connection. Without internet connection, we cannot access any kind of a web application. That is a disadvantage. Security concerns regarding the data transmission over the internet. So as I told you, all the information that is you are submitting, that will be transmitted over the internet. So when it is transmitted over the internet, there will be concerns regarding the security of that particular data, and concerns over a storage itself. So we are storing the data on the server, how secure that server is. Okay, there are concerns over the storage because we have heard a lot of incidents about the hacking and stealing the data. So there will be concerns about that particular storage as well. And next one is the browser compatibility restrictions on access, etc. One thing is when you build the web application, you will build the web application for a particular browser. Let's say you are building the application for Chrome and for particular version, and Internet Explorer for particular version. When you are rolling out or when you are giving the web applications to the user, you will be specifying the minimum requirements. So you must have seen this across many web application. This particular website can be best viewed in this version of Chrome, this version of Internet Explorer. So that is a one limitation. Whereas there is always a browser compatibility issue will be there. So that is a one disadvantages. On the other hand, what is a desktop application? Just I want to listen to you. What do you understand by web application? Now we understand. What is desktop application? Anyone? This is open discussion. Just don't be in a listening mode. Try to interact. The best way to interact is a chat. Okay. What do you understand by the desktop application? Or can you, if you can give me example of a desktop application, that is fine. You can speak up if you want.
Google Meet, sir.
Google Meet. Google Meet. Okay. Google Meet. Yes, it can be a desktop application, but as of now, you can see my screen, right? This is, I have connected over. Right now, it is a web application, and Google Meet also provides a desktop which I can download and I can run that. Very good answer, but this particular version is we can have it as a desktop as well as a web application. Now you can see this URL, right? HTTPS. Okay, HTTPS is a secured, hypertext. This is S stands for secure. This is over the internet. This is a web application. Any example of a
So,
yes, Vaibhavi.
so Notepad, Word.
Photoshop, sir.
So no.
Photoshop. Very good. Who said Photoshop?
Vijay, sir.
Vijay, very good. That is one example. Now you can think about many, right? Just put it in the chat. Google Chrome, somebody said, yes, I accept. Google Chrome is a desktop application. Word, Excel, very good. That's where I was going. Word, Excel, PPT. Okay. Then any kind of a photo editing, video editing softwares, normally which you don't do on the website. Even nowadays, websites they provide the facility to edit the photo, video, things like that. There are certain open site applications over the internet, but these are the applications which you will download on your system. They are designed for, let's say, when you are downloading any kind of a Photoshop or a photo editor, you will be downloading with respect to your operating system, Windows 7, Windows 10. Those are the things. So predominantly desktop applications run on the devices. For example, if you consider the laptop, you will install it on the laptop. It will run on the laptop. Let us go back to with that understanding, we'll go back to this. So this desktop application, so you can see this, it is not accessible from anywhere. It is only on your system. Can be used with the different operating systems and browsers. So we don't need browsers. It will have its own window. Operating system, it can be used only for only those operating systems where it is compatible. If they have done the desktop application for only for Windows 10, if you have Windows 7, you cannot use it. Easier to roll out program. This is very difficult. What happens is, let's say you download and you install. The Photoshop comes with the next version. It is not rolled out to your. You have to explicitly download and install, isn't it? And centralized storage. No, it is not centralized. It is localized storage. Okay. It is whatever the data that you have created, generated, it is only on your system. Okay. And if you see in the disadvantages, we don't need internet. So basically, desktop application reverses. The advantages becomes disadvantages, and disadvantages, most of the disadvantages becomes advantages. So you don't need internet connection. If you are working on the Photoshop, you can continue to work. Okay. Security concerns are minimal because you are not transmitting any data over the internet. Okay, you are not doing any transmission, and as long as your system is secured, okay, the storage concerns are relatively less, and this problem will not be there. So if it is compatible with your operating system, then the desktop application will work fine. And desktop application will have a lot of other problems. Earlier the concept was to develop the desktop application. Earlier, like if you see like 20 years back, when I started with my career, like 2001, there were a lot of desktop applications, and desktop application have a lot of other disadvantages, because you must be knowing operating system, they come up with security patches. Lot of vulnerability will be there. They put patches. Patches is basically to fix the any kind of a error. So they push those patches to the all the systems. When your operating system gets a new patch, there is a very high chance that your desktop application will may not work, or some functionality may not work. So I remember when we were developers, we used to do a lot of testing whenever Microsoft, or we had a database as well. Whenever Oracle or the Microsoft, they announced the new patches, they used to give the patches beforehand, and they will announce the dates. We used to apply those patches, test our applications, desktop application, whether they work fine, all aspects of the, if everything is fine, okay. If there are problems, we used to update our application, desktop application, and manually push it to all the client system, before we get the Microsoft patches. So those kind of lot of maintenance work used to be there. Compared to that, web applications, they save a lot of such maintenance work, because see, easier rollout of the program. So program rollout, for the program rollout on the desktop application itself is a big activity, because you have to push that updates to so many systems and apply those patches. Okay, those are the disadvantages. We talked about this yesterday briefly. Static websites, and later is the dynamic website. Okay, what is a static website? What do you think is a static website? And also there is a one more word, dynamic website. Yeah,
So
Ravi.
simple web pages are called a static website.
Okay. So yeah, some of you answered yesterday. There will not be a lot of user interactions. Okay. Can you give me any good examples of a static website? Anybody, not only Ravi has to give. Web pages with fixed content. Yes, because that is correct.
Wikipedia.
Very good. I was thinking about that. Wikipedia is a one good where people will seek information there. Like they don't update many of the things. Unlike Facebook, social media networks, where lot of things are there, you will be having lot of functionality and other applications. Okay, Wikipedia is one static website. Most of the college websites, they are created for disseminating information. Any application which is more of created to disseminate information, or for sake our VTU website, you will see lot of information, static data files, circulars, your syllabus copies, model question papers. Those we call it as static website, where there is a no or less interaction with the users. Okay, so developed using only HTML pages. Using just the HTML pages, you can create static websites. I told you after HTML tags, you can create your own using XAMPP. Okay, predominantly consists of text and images. Looks identical for all users at all times. So the look of the web application is similar for all the users, because it is a static information. Look wise, it will not differ too much. So you can see here, this is the client. Okay, browser will be here, and user wants to see vacation.html, so they will type it on the browser. They give it this to browser, so browser will identify which the server is. Okay, then server retrieves the files from its hard drive, so it will get that particular HTML. Okay, server sends HTML, and server sends HTML, and then later the image to the browser. So whatever the HTML page and the image, if there are some embedded images are there, those will be retrieved from the disk. So you can see the HTML page and the picture.jpg. It will retrieve that, and it will send it as a response. So this response is received by the browser, and browser will display that particular page. So you will see this kind of a structure in the static websites. Dynamic websites. What is a dynamic website? This can be also done using only HTML pages. There is during 2000 there was a buzzword called Web 2.0. So it brought in lot of interactive experiences. Okay, a lot of interactive experiences, and it's changed the whole scenario of web application development. And it helped creating user-driven experiences. User-driven experiences like let's say, for example, e-commerce website. You are looking for products. There are a lot of options. You can group wise the brands. You can group wise according to the price range, and if there are any other factors, you can do lot of tweaking. the website that you are seeing for one user is different from another user. Okay, or you have a different kind of a dashboard. Okay, you want to see only these things in your dashboard. The look and feel is different for different users. Okay, and the various technologies that emerged and which can be used to create this rich experience, web experience. There are many technologies. JavaScript was there, PHP, ASP.NET, or the whole .NET, C Sharp, including C Sharp. JSP was there, Java Server Pages, MySQL database. So these technologies evolved and which helped us to build very rich web applications. So this is a structure of dynamic web application. So you can see vacation.php. So on the browser, user request vacation.php. Server recognizes that it must run a dynamic script that is on hard drive. So it will run the script. Server executes and interprets this script. It runs this, then script output. So by executing this script, this is the output. So here, then the script is sent back, sends the generated HTML, the image file to the user. This is the example where I was telling the kind of a response here you get could be, excuse me, different for different users. Let's say same page, this in the vacation page, let's say you want to see the some of the options, tourist places that are available in, let's say, Goa. Okay, one user puts that request, and this particular script will run that with the user input for the Goa, and it will generate a different kind of HTML, okay, for the Goa and its tourist places, and it will render that page to the user. Versus another user, he wants to see like tourist places in Karnataka. The query, the script runs again. Okay, the HTML created would be different than what it was earlier. Dynamically, you can change. Okay, you have gone through many sites, and dynamically, like based on your request, the response would be different. So those are the dynamic websites. Next one is the internet protocols. There are, when we are doing a communication, we have to follow a certain protocol. For example, for this meeting itself, we set some protocol, which I didn't tell exclusively, because now you are gone through many classes, many people have told about it. What the protocol we are following for this meeting, some said explicitly, some are implicit. The minute you enter this class or the meeting, you will mute your microphone, and whenever you are talking, you will unmute and you will talk. And I'm asking, whenever I ask question, it would be difficult to understand when people are talking. I'm using the chat section. So we have created certain protocols. So this is very simple. Our requirement is very simple here. We are delivering the lecture, you are understanding, you are asking question. To suffice this, we are using minimum protocol. Internet is a huge thing, right? So when devices are communicating, when they are sending information, okay, how they are sending information, what kind of rules they have to use, how they can ensure whatever the messages that are sent are received or not, okay, how to get the acknowledgement. There are a lot of complications around that. So we required one protocol which will be a standard. Okay, using that standard, all the communications will happen. So we will talk about the internet protocols, how it works, and what are the basic layers it has in detail in the next class. Okay. For today's class, if you have any question, you can post it in chat section. Does anybody has any question from whatever understanding you got from today's class? So I assume no questions. All right. So we will end today's class. In the next class, we'll go over the internet protocols. Thank you, everybody. You may leave.